Welcome back to First Take. Alabama was down but not out in its first-round matchup against Oklahoma on Friday. The Crimson Tide trailed 17-0 in the first half before scoring 27 unanswered to match the biggest comeback in CFP history. The 34-24 win punched Bama's ticket to the Rose Bowl against number 1 Indiana. The road team was victorious on Saturday as well. Miami coming out on top of a defensive struggle with Texas A&M. The Canes kept the Aggies out of the end zone all game to secure a trip to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, where they're going to face Ohio State. Our friend Paul Finebaum joining us now. Paul, let's look at the weekend that was. Who had the more impressive win this weekend? Was it Bama or was it Miami?
I think it was Miami, even though I sat there or stood there at the Alabama game in awe of what the Crimson Tide had accomplished. But to me, Miami beat a better team in a more difficult place to win, and that is at Kyle Field and Texas A&M. Alabama and Oklahoma, they were about an even matchup. But what Miami did, especially on the defensive side, against what had been an explosive offense, I thought was absolutely spectacular. I'm not sure where they go from here other than having to face what I think is the best team in the field remaining, and that's Ohio State. And I don't want to take anything away from Alabama. I mean, that was a gritty comeback of epic proportion. But to me, Miami doing what it did, especially on the defensive side of the ball, was one of the most impressive things I've seen this college football season.
Oh, it's Alabama for me.
Yeah.
One, the noise of the week, not only with like the should you be in, and I was a person who said Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama. So the noise of the week in that, the noise of Kalen DeBoer, their head coach, being somewhat attached to the potential at Michigan, and then to go on the road in an environment that seemed to be absolutely electric, go down 17-0. Not only go down 17-0, you looked terrible.
Yep.
Your offensive line could not block Oklahoma. You couldn't get to the quarterback. Material looked great. There was like this snowball effect of, oh my gosh, I had a buddy after me, or before the game texting me going, anybody who thinks Alabama's not going to win this game is an idiot. And after it went 17-0, I was like, who's the idiot now? And then all of a sudden they roll off 24 or something like that straight 27 straight points. And just, and Herbie was talking about in the game, like flipped it. It went from Alabama not being able to get to the quarterback and not protecting the quarterback to all of a sudden Ty Simpson was Joe Burrow, and they were chasing down material left and right. And so hats off to Alabama just to handle it all, to weather it all, and then to dominate for the last 3 quarters.
Yeah, I'm going with Bama too. And the reason is this. When that pot got hot, what do? Coach DeBoer, answer the bell.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is you expect that at a team like that. With a university that has had so much success in the last 10 years for obvious reasons with the likes of a Nick Saban. Now, do they have enough to move forward? I don't know enough teams or a lot of teams that will allow that type of 27 unanswered points to kind of be, their kind of calling card to win. But hostile environment, finding ways to win. Ty Simpson did not look good early. Finding ways to garner enough offense, the defensive effort by Alabama was something that you have to marvel about, and they are a real threat.
Yeah.
So once that comes together, and once they find or impose their will, they're a scary team.
The run game, we've talked about that with Alabama. That has not been a consistent. Do you think that travels to the Rose Bowl?
It has to. It has to. I think it's ebbs and flows, right? And what we've always seen an Alabama team, and Uncle Paulie knows this best, they will play smash mouth football, a physical brand of football that we have not seen enough this year. Mm-hmm. So coming off the SEC championship, everybody wanted to see how do you respond from that. Okay, starting off a little spotty first quarter, and then getting it together for the rest of the game.
Yeah. All right, Paul, we talked about Kalen DeBoer all last week. The statement that he put out about the Michigan job, or at least like pointing to what was the speculation about him potentially being in play there. How do you think Bama fans should feel about their head coach now?
It should feel great. And what's so interesting, and back to what Dan said about when everybody was texting everybody else down 17-0, the text that I was getting, the messages I was receiving about Kalen DeBoer were about as ugly as I have ever seen. Alabama fans saying, hey, I'll pay for the plane. I'll charter the plane right now to take him from Norman to Ann Arbor. That's how bad it was about 9 o'clock on Friday night. But today, I think everybody is taking a deep breath. And I think if Alabama fans are smart, they would look at the fact that they have one of the 5 best coaches in the country. His record against top 10 teams is simply unbelievable. He continues to do it. And I think most important, I think Alabama fans ought to think about this. Penn State wanted DeBoer, and I'm telling you right now, Michigan would have paid any price to get Kalen DeBoer to be its next head coach. But instead, he's staying at Alabama. And I live in this environment, and I'm part of it. I've done a talk show in Alabama for a long time, and yes, we stir the pot. I'm well aware of that. But I think it's time for Alabama fans to say, you know what? We have a great coach. He isn't Nick Saban. He isn't Bear Bryant, but he's as good as we can get right now. We ought to be thankful that we have him.
For Alabama, a lot changes in like a week. You know, it's crazy. In a matter of 3 or 4 hours. I think the most pivotal moment in Kalen DeBoer's era so far at Alabama is the 4th and 2 call. When they went down, they're down 17-0. They go down and it's 4th and 2. And I think the ball was probably at like the 7-yard line or something. I thought to myself, kick the field goal. Just get points and try to stop the bleeding, get something on the board. They didn't hesitate. They go for it. They catch yards after the catch, touchdown, and then it just flipped. I think that play is the moment that we'll see what happens, you know, moving forward for the rest of this playoff. But we will all point to it and be like, that's when it flipped for DeBoer at Alabama long term. That one play.
Skeptical? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little children, dogs and cats, people over there, people over here, I'm going to tell you something that you need to understand. It's just different in the SEC. Hey, if you lose this game, Kalen DeBoer, the Boo Birds and the tweets will come back again. Certain jobs in college football just require you to always be good. Not sometimes being good, always being good. Thank your predecessor or thank the forefathers, the Bear Bryants, the Nick Sabans, to put a pedestal up so high that you will forever be trying to climb to reach. So you're talking about a Big Ten Michigan team. You're talking about a Big Ten Penn State team. Well, listen, in the SEC, there are certain teams, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. If you don't win there, Control-Alt-Delete yourself out of here. And while you have this position, Control-Alt-Delete your emotions. Because it's not like this everywhere, and everybody should understand it. So being grateful that that's your head coach, hell no! Do your job. We expect a certain brand of football to be played all the time, not sometimes.
Paul, you want to copy and paste your response from earlier on that?
You know, that was one of the greatest sermons I've ever heard, Reverend Cam Newton, even before Christmas. I'm saying amen, because that he's 100% right, and we all know it, and I'm going to say it again, Courtney, because the fine line between winning and losing that game was Kalen DeBoer maybe getting run out of town. That's how bad it would have been. And the situation at Alabama and a lot of the schools that he mentioned, the expectations is to win every game. I have walked out of national championship games that Nick Saban lost on the final play, and fans were down on him. That's the expectation, Cam, and you laid it out about as eloquently as I have ever heard. And yeah, all the cliches about the SEC and Alabama are accurate. You better win, and Kalen DeBoer did, and now he'll be accepted at least until the next game.
Yeah, as an Indiana grad, it feels really good and kind of weird today to say we want Bama. I didn't think I'd ever be mentioned in sports in my entire life.
Great sermon, Cameron Gregory Newton.
Not Gregory!
All right, time for a quick take. Michael Irvin was loving what he saw from his Hurricanes as we watched them from the sidelines pull off that win on Saturday. Cam, what do you make of how hype Irvin was?
No, we're going to go to commercial.
Man, listen, the playmaker is one of those individuals that he always keep that same energy, and some of it feels like my spirit animal. the certain things that Michael Irvin does on the sideline, it's like, yo, I love it. Belt, more belt. And he's a person that's like this in real life. This is not a character, ladies and gentlemen. This is a human being that stands by energy, lives by energy, and expects you to have the contagious effect of his energy. So what he's been able to do for Miami is bring back a swagger and an expectations that I love to see.
BTC, belt to trash can, I guess is that what we're calling that? Paul, what did you think of Michael Irvin?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to break up the party here because, Cam, I thought that was amazing and everything you said about Michael Irvin, but I want you to answer me something, Reverend Cam. The fact that Michael Irvin can bring that energy to his program, I saw you honored a couple weeks ago at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Why can't you bring it to your program? Because you need to get down and do the same thing to bring Auburn back to like it was in 2010 when you ran the table and won the national championship.
That is an unbelievable question, Uncle Paulie, and I'm glad you teed it up. Had we had better officiating, maybe it would have been a lot of Charmin and toilet tissue paper thrown on Toomer's corner. But the fact that the referees had it out on us, somebody is left without a job, and somebody is heart-struck because Auburn did not win.
He's your spirit animal. So I think that you're putting this in motion that you're going to be doing that next season.
I hope I can get a belt, and get to wiping and smacking and popping anybody. But, man, Auburn, if you're seeing this, you probably will see this. A lot of people don't even want me to talk anyway. If y'all give me a reason to talk, I promise you think Michael Irvin did you bad or doing people bad. Boy, let me tell you something. Auburn Tigers get a fool around or final round and get a winning season and have some quality wins, you're going to need more than belts. You need more than belts.
Watch out.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right